Hey everybody, welcome to another tip of the week, this time going over some targeting methods within macros. There are multiple different ways to target something within the game, but I specifically wanted to go over how to type out specific commands within your macros. First, we'll start off with having something targeting yourself. If I were to use a job ability that only targets myself, I would use the me command, as seen here. In this macro, it indicates that I want to use this ability on myself. For Corsairs, this is convenient for roles and double up abilities as they can only be targeted on the user of these specific abilities. Let me switch over to Ava here so that way I can show you some other targetings within a job abilities or macros for the party. I can use this for any of my indie spells if I'm going to specifically be casting them on myself. But remember, they do have an ability called Entrust, where it says I can cast any indie spells within players of my party. There are a couple ways you can build your macros for this. Now let's say I wanted to give Indie Fury to Lean. I could go with the select target or ST, but the downside is I would have to tab through not only the players, but any monsters that are between Ava and Lean. With spells and abilities that you are only going to be casting on playable characters, you can use STPC. This means that only playable characters will be selected with the blue arrow. In a non-congested area where only your party is available, this is a great thing to use. But if you do get in a more dense of actual players, you may want to use STPT. Instead of putting a player over your head first and then tabbing through to get to specific players, this will put a blue arrow next to your name on the party list. If you are a keyboard user, you sadly cannot use the F keys for targeting in this instant and must click the up or down arrow keys to scroll through the list. This is useful if you are not sure where the person is located or they haven't appeared on your screen yet. If you are an alliance and you want to use a cure cross-party, you may want to use STAL. This will place the blue arrow next to your name again in the party list, but you can scroll through the entire alliance instead. But just as a reminder, STPT will only be selecting your party list, while STAL will allow you to scroll through the entire alliance. So just remember which spells you can use only within your party and which spells you can use throughout an alliance if you want to set them up this way. Let's head back over to FFXI screen though. For abilities or spells used against a monster or technically on any player, you could still use the target for these abilities. If you are an active melee though, you may not always want to use the target as you may need to do actions on other things. You can use ST as mentioned earlier, but again, not only will it target monsters, but it will also target any players. You can use the action STNPC, which will pull up a blue arrow on any non-playable character. This is helpful when needing to target only enemies with a specific ability or spell. If you have already used an ability with ST or STNPC, like I show here with Light Shot, you can use any ability afterwards with last ST. What this does is it targets the last mob you selected with either ST or STNPC. Or if you're doing this with cure macros, it will do the same thing, but just as a reminder, it can get confused if you have used ST or STNPC and then use last ST because it'll try to cure the monster instead. This is useful though in certain situations like this month's ambuscade with the Alicorn and Dullahan, as most players will be attacking the Alicorn and weapon skilling the Dullahan or using specific abilities on the Dullahan. You can use the ST NPC like I did with sleeping this sheep with Light Shot, and then follow up with last ST for my weapon skill. This allows you to stay on your original target and have your other abilities go off on the other target without having to change mobs. I hope this helps you in creating macros or understanding other targeting methods. Bye-bye!